Welcome back. My name is Kit.
And it's your boy, Steve.
And this is Streaming Things. That throws me off every time you're new.
It's your boy.
It's your boy, Steve.
Yo, what up? It's your boy, Steve, coming at you live from the studio. Apartment.
Like, I feel like, people have been very gracious in calling me Kit.
Everyone's been playing along with the game.
Yeah, and now we're just throwing new things at them. Like, it's your boy, Steve, and I got to get used to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think podcasting is in itself just an exercise in always developing new silly catchphrase and just expand. Like,
for us, yes.
I got to return some videotapes for you.
I know you laugh every time I do that. Like,
I do.
It's just great. It's one of
my favorite things.
It's a movie trivia thing, but it's also like, it's a nice sign off. I think it's great. I love it.
And it's your boy Steve is like a real cool thing too.
That's not how you talk. So it makes it funnier to me.
If I lean into like the whole like YouTube personality style guy, like, hey, what we should do before we move on, Chris, is we should smash that subscribe button, ring the bell for updates.
Bing, bing, bing.
This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Blue Chew. BetterHelp. They actually do sponsor the show.
That's true.
Let's talk about BetterHelp.
Let's talk about a real sponsor. A real deal one. Today, if you guys didn't know, we're talking about potentially our most important movie review ever.
Seminal.
It is. It's Police Academy 4.
For Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol. Now,
you guys might be asking, did my feed mess up? Have I missed Police Academies 1 through 3?
No,
you did not miss them because we did not review them. This is a Patreon picked film. So someone went onto our Patreon, signed up at the appropriate tier, and one of the powers you get to exercise at this tier is that you can order us to watch a specific movie. And who ordered us for this one?
This is from Brett X, who was very apologetic. He knows what he's doing. So he didn't have to do this because you already paid for us to watch. That's the game. You could watch whatever.
You tell us what to watch.
It could be Barbarella.
That's the deal.
It could be Schindler's List.
You put the money under the door and we back away and watch a movie. All right.
But he sent us like a DoorDash gift card and stuff so we ate a bunch of food for this episode. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Should we tell him what we had?
I don't even remember. Oh, wild eggs.
Wild eggs. Yeah, we just ate it.
Bunch of omelets, stuffed French toast.
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking nice.
I had a Creole omelet. Had like andouille sausage and shrimp in it.
Andouille.
And like some Cajun spice.
Isn't it French? You don't pronounce the L's. It's like andouille.
Andouille.
Andouille. Fromage.
Omelette du fromage. I did have like a cheesy omelet. That's true.
But he didn't pick Police Academy from 1984. He didn't pick Police Academy 2, The First Assignment from 1985. Nor did he pick Police Academy 3, Back in Training from 1986. No. It's Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol from 1987. And yes, you did the math correctly. The people in the 80s were lucky enough to receive a new Police Academy movie every year from 1984 to 1987. But no, they had to wait a few years to 1988. No, they didn't. Another one again, 1988, Police Academy 5, Assignment. No, so check this out. Police Academy 5, Assignment, Miami Beach. That gives Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a run for its money.
Yeah.
And then Police Academy 6, I believe, is just called Mission to Moscow, right?
I think so.
And then...
What's 7? Isn't there 7 of them?
There definitely is a 7. There's a Police Academy, the series, which came out in 1997.
Oh, okay. So Police Academy 7 is Mission to Moscow. Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. That came out in 1989. And Mission to Moscow came out in 1994.
So from 84 to 89, there was a Police Academy movie every year.
Yeah.
And then the 7th one came out in 94. And G.W. Bailey was still in them. At least in the 7th one. But you said earlier that Steve Guttenberg was not in any after 4?
Yeah. Police Academy 4 was the last appearance of the Goots on
Interesting.
Police Academy. Apparently he's going to be an 8 whenever they fucking make that one, which they've been teasing that for literal 2 decades.
So look at my IMDb here, just so you guys know I'm not fooling. I typed in Police Academy in the search bar, as you can see. And then they're all a bunch of Police Academy movies, except randomly, it just says Teen Lust. from 1978. And I just don't understand how that came up.
Brett, were we supposed to watch Teen Lust? Was this like a subliminal message for us to watch Teen Lust?
I don't know. And now my app's crashing. So IMDb was like, you weren't supposed to find that.
Oh shit, you found Teen Lust.
Anyway.
He's on a list.
That's why we're watching Police Academy 4. Hopefully you watched it with us. We're going to give our overall thoughts on the movie and then attempt some kind of play-by-play, scene-by-scene recap.
We were talking off air briefly, like, how do we recap this movie?
I got to tell you, here's my backstory.
What's your backstory with Police Academy in general?
I actually liked these movies.
Yeah.
I liked them. That's the past tense. Like I watched them a lot as a kid. It seems like they were always rerunning on Comedy Central or USA, but I think Comedy Central, like right after Short Circuit, and as a kid, maybe homesick from school or whatever, I'm just coming to America, like shit like that's always on. I'm always watching them. Specifically this one, because I remember a few scenes of this vividly when they came up. Like the lady who, the love interest of Bobcat Goldthwait in this movie, of Zed, the photographer.
Yeah.
Like that scene where she lets her hair down and they're running toward each other. I had a huge crush on her when I was a kid, and it's from that scene from this movie. So I was like, oh shit, this must be the one that I watched all the time, was 4, right? Mm-hmm. So there's my back. I liked these movies, but watching this as an adult.
Corinne Bohrer?
Yeah.
Bohrer, am I pronouncing
it? Yeah, she's not in much other than this. She's had some like TV spots and stuff.
Ooh, she was in the 1990s Flash TV show.
I saw that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Didn't even know that existed.
Oh, she was Veronica Mars's mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Leanne Mars.
Big Veronica Mars fan over here for sure.
Yeah.
So I liked this movie, but watching it, I hated this movie. Like this is not even, it's not a movie. There's no plot. It's just a string.
Yeah, plot point B in this movie happens minute 58 when they're like, oh, we got to get the international people to come see how good the program's going.
Sure.
And then it's just like, here's a random villain.
And there's like there's kind of a B plot with David Spade's character.
Kind of. They forget about it.
Kind of a love story with Bobcat Goldthwait. And
they kind of forget about it.
There's kind of a love story with Sharon Stone and Mahoney.
Didn't even realize that was her for most of this movie.
Sharon Stone jump scare. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? But not really, right? Like they're not interested in any of that. There's no real antagonist. Like G.W. Bailey's Captain Harris is kind of part of the protagonist team now. He's such a familiar face in this franchise. And at no point does Captain Harris actually have the upper hand. So there's no tension. There's no conflict. That's
right.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this movie? That's what I was trying to think the entire time I was watching it. I was like, what is wrong with this? Like, what's not working? What's not moving about this movie? And it's the fact that at no point does Captain Harris have the upper hand. So there's no tension. Like he'll come in, he'll yell at the crew and then walk into the shower like an idiot. So it's like you never take him seriously. Like Mahoney's never in trouble of losing his job, or the cop program's never in danger of being dismantled. And like the commandant who invented the COP program is a fucking idiot. Like he literally doesn't even know where he is half the time. Mm-hmm. So there's no tension about him being let down, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's no movie here because you're not what is even happening?
Yeah,
like
it tries to cobble together some sort of plot at the the last 20 minutes of the movie with the jailbreak. Like, oh, we've got a thing to do as a police force, and we can, the people in the cops program actually have a thing to fight, and even though we've been disbarred, kind of.
Right.
And so they try to cobble together the story like in the last 20 minutes of the movie, but the first hour of it is very much like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like there's
What's going on?
And I don't mean that it's too silly. I just mean you still need a plot within the silliness. Take something like, I don't know. Pick an Adam Sandler movie. What's the one with
Billy Madison?
Bobby Boucher.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
What's that one?
Waterboy.
Waterboy. Let's take Waterboy. That's a silly ass movie, right? Yeah. You still have like the Dark Night of the Soul where he decides he's not going to play football anymore, and he tells what is her name? Veronica.
I don't know.
No, that's from Billy Madison. It's the Farouk Balza. Yeah.
Touch the honey.
Veronica. Anyway, he tells her to leave him alone. Like, because he thinks his mom's sick because she's faking the brain injury or what. Like there's that conflict, that tension, and
You
that
ain't playing foosball.
Yeah, that triumphant return to foosball, and like he goes back with his girl, and he finds out his father wasn't a genius waterman. He was a loser that left him. You know what I mean? It's all silly, but like there's some movie happening. There's things are still happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Characters they're having arcs. Things are, whereas in this, everybody's the same at the end as they are at the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's just a bunch of nonsense. God damn it. Some cockamamie malarkey.
Yeah, like and I was like you when I was growing up. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Police Academy movies. I've never seen all of
Especially
them.
Michael Winslow, which these movies are just look what we can make Michael Winslow do.
Look what he's doing. Although I do have to say, like in this movie, it's like the least impressive Michael Winslowing. Because usually there's just a car engine happening and he's just also going, rah! Yeah. And it's like, that's not helping.
The fart was really good.
Yeah, the fart was good.
There's like 3 moments, and I identified them where I actually laughed out loud, and I'm not ashamed.
Oh, no, there are definitely moments in this movie where I did cackle. Usually it's like the most inane, random bullshit that just kind of sneaks in at the end of a scene. Usually Bobcat's like, ha, boobs, or something like right at the end. But like, there are funny scenes in this movie, but like for the most part, like the scenes, the setups, the jokes that are happening are not funny. It's the character actors that are like adding that. You can tell they're adding their own little ad lib or improvisational little wink and nod that they're kind of throwing into the performance. Those things are funny because these are talented comedians. But I don't think that the jokes and the setups are necessarily that funny.
And it's interesting because at least the first one, but I think the first 3 are actually pretty raunchy. Like they're rated R. Mm-hmm. And this one, I think, is the first one that's rated PG. And then it's PG from here on out, which is just interesting. Yeah, like they lost their bite a little bit, maybe.
My knowledge of the Police Academy movies. So yeah, I watched these movies when I was really, really young. I've never seen all of them because I know I've never seen this one before. I have no memory of this one at all. I remember the Miami one for whatever reason. I remember that because Tommy, the heavy...
Isn't that like 6 or 7?
I think that's 5, I think.
7's Moscow.
5 is Assignment Miami Beach. So I do remember that one because there's like some alligator jokes and Tommy, who's the heavyset guy that is the new recruit that kind of hangs out with David Spade and the other dude.
Yeah.
He's in 5. Because I have no memory of David Spade being in any of these movies, period. This is the only one he's in, to my knowledge. So when before I started watching this, I was hanging out with Erica and we just like looked it up on IMDb and we were looking at like screenshots of it. And there's a screenshot of David Spade and she's like, "Oh, David Spade's in these movies?" And I'm like, "No."
I was shocked when I saw him pop up.
And then she showed me that screenshot. I'm like, "Oh, fucking shit, that is David Spade." But yeah, apparently this is the film debut of David Spade.
Wow.
This is the first movie he's ever been in, which was kind of, cool.
When he's a skateboarder guy.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I think doesn't quite work with this movie in particular. I don't remember this happening in the other ones I've seen. It's a great song. It's a bop.
Do you actually know that song?
No, but it was like, it was like while it was happening, like, yeah.
You do know a lot of 80s music, so I was like, if that's actually a Steve bop, I'm gonna be fucking mad.
No,
shoot for the top.
That sounds like a song they made just for this movie, like shoot for the top at Police Academy 4. But another reason that I think this movie isn't quite living up to his expectations is I think you do have to have a lot of knowledge of the other 3 movies going into it.
Yeah.
Because I can tell there were a ton of jokes happening where it's like, oh man, if I was well versed and had caught myself up on the first, because I didn't watch the first 3 leading into this.
I haven't seen these movies in 20 years.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of jokes happening.
30
like,
years maybe.
I vaguely remember something happening. Like they show Tackleberry. Tackleberry has a scene early on where he's having dinner with his wife and her family.
Yeah, that whole scene was fucking batshit without context.
Yeah, so I remember, I have this vague, hazy memory of Tackleberry getting a wife and like meeting a woman and them getting married in one of these movies. So like I was vaguely like, oh yeah, he does have a wife. I don't know her family. And so that when that scene plays out, I'm like, bet this is funnier if I had seen the other ones beforehand because I would have a little bit more context.
Yeah,
what's
with
happening.
Like the sociopath mom and the dad who just beats the shit out of his son.
Oh, I'm so quick.
That's hard.
Oh, boys.
It's wild.
And then also there's this weird kind of thing where it's a huge ensemble cast movie, right? So you have to have every scene has to like, okay, Bubba Smith, Hightower has to have his moment. Michael Winslow has to have his scene. You know, they all have to shine. And even though Steve Guttenberg is the quote unquote star of these movies, he is a huge major backseat this whole movie. I feel like he's barely in this. And when he is, he just kind of wanders in like, hey, G.W. Bailey, don't be a dick. I guess you are. And then he'll disappear for 5 minutes and you'll have like an extended Bobcat Goldthwait scene, which is one of many. I feel like he should have been the star of this movie.
He
He's
must
in
have
it
been
so much.
big in the 80s.
He must have been so free.
I can't stand this man. Not as a person. It's just the whole shtick.
And then like Marion Ramsey, who plays Hooks. Like, Hooks has barely any fucking point in this movie. Like I don't even know why they bothered giving her a call to show up because she has
the helium scene is like her big triumphant.
That's her big triumphant moment. It's also like as an editor, it was the scene that was driving me nuts because there's this weird thing where Bailey shows up and chastises her and then she like hides under the table for like 30 seconds and then goes back up and the scene continues. It's like, why the fuck did we do that? Why didn't we just continue the scene?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just this weird, like who's the main character? There's no one really to kind of bring you along. It's just, like you said, a bunch of slapped together comedy skits that don't quite work. And then at the very end, they're like, shit, plot.
Ninjas.
Ninjas. Which that ninja fight is on the boat.
Yeah.
Rough.
Michael Winslow very clearly doesn't actually know karate.
No.
But he is good at pretending to be dubbed.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. The stunt though, the like airplane balloon stunts were surprisingly good.
Yeah. How do they randomly, like they didn't have to go that hard.
No.
After the movie we had just watched, was I expecting anything like that?
No.
Aerial wise or
and then he like pulled it off really
yeah,
well.
like, dude actually jumped on very clearly jumped on a balloon, which would be terrifying.
Right. This was, I did read in my research that this was the Police Academy movie with the highest budget out of all the movies. And I think you can tell just through the
budget. It's on the screen, baby.
It's on the screen. You can see the budget
when
in that
Mrs.
aerial
Feldman
scene.
comes through that window. Mwah.
Book 'em tack.
Book 'em tack. So the movie starts with a sick beat. They're driving through town. A golf ball hits. It's I think Winslow and Guttenberg in a cruiser. The two stars, right?
Yeah.
And then a golf ball hits the windshield. That golf ball was hit by the goofy, dumb commandant. He introduces his new COP program, Citizens on Patrol.
Or COP for short. The sigh you just gave.
Bobcat Goldthwait, God damn it, is my next note. He storms in late. I forgot he was in these movies. I think I liked him as a kid. I think it was like my favorite part as a kid.
Everyone liked him as a kid. I'm going to be honest with you. I still like Bobcat.
I think my dad hated him, and now I'm like,
your dad.
Now my dad, like, what the fuck is the point of this? Yeah, it's like, what's that guy that hits fruit with sledgehammers?
Gallagher.
It's like a Gallagher thing. When you're a kid, you're like, I get it, Dad, because it's a hammer and he's smashing the fruit. But as an adult, you're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
What are we supposed to be doing with this?
my Bobcat Goldthwait to Gallagher line, it might not make any sense, but I think it's strong.
I must be a child because I get it.
Like both those comedians are geniuses.
Yeah. But yeah, they want to do this Citizens on Patrol program in order to kind of build
community
relations. Like the public will see us as friends, and the commandant's like, they won't think of us as enemies. Wouldn't that be great if we were friends and we can just have lemonade?
Things worked out with cops and community relations since this movie.
Yeah.
Nothing got worse.
Hey, maybe they're onto something.
I mean, nothing happened in the 90s that was really pretentious or anything.
No, not at all.
And then nothing went on to happen in the decades after.
Maybe that's why in 1994 they went to Russia. They're like, ooh, ooh, can't do this.
Maybe.
By the way, real quick aside, because I was doing like just some very lazy research into the other Police Academy movies to try to like reboot my mind.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Russian one. Did you look at the cast for the Mission to Moscow one?
No.
Dude, let me bring it up for you. It'll blow your fucking mind. Ron Perlman.
Okay.
Christopher Lee.
Okay.
What the Claire Forlani, like the Christopher Lee one blew my mind. Like, I guess he's like he's the Russian commandant who's like,
of course he is.
Welcome to my,
I got a purple lightsaber. I really killed a man.
I've been looking forward to this. But that, I just couldn't, I guess Ron Perlman's the bad guy in it, because of course it's Ron Perlman. But yeah, that fucking blew my mind. They got Christopher Lee with it for this shit.
I used to watch a bunch of obscure 80s Ron Perlman movies. Like he was like a monk and shit. I think he's in The Name of the Rose or something, but it's one of those. Big fan, Ron Perlman.
Yeah, I love Ronnie P.
But yeah, the COP program, it pisses off Captain Harris, who's the kind of the villain from the original Academy, you know, going way back.
He's always the villain in these movies, but
it denigrates the police, you know, mentality that is so dear to him. He carries that fucking, is it a cane? Is there a word for that?
Or something?
Yeah. He's just got a little, like even when his arms are fucked up, he's still got the cane in one hand.
I do have to say, I think the guy who plays Captain Harris, what's his name? G.W. Bailey?
Yeah, G.W. Bailey.
I think he's like the MVP.
For sure.
Of this movie, for sure. But I think like that's why he keeps coming back to all of them. Like the movies, I think, inherently would not work without him.
And that's what the original premise is cool. It's a good 80s comedy. It's these new recruits in the academy, hence Police Academy. And G.W. Bailey's the guy that can prevent them from getting the job or whatever, right? And you've got Mahoney. It's the same. Really, I never thought about this before, but Major Payne is just steals heavily from Police Academy in a way, because you got the shitty character. The Mahoney character is like the kid who gets his head shaved and stuff. And I don't know how much you guys remember about Major Payne, but
we got some Major Payne heads here.
But now that like they're all actually cops and they're, you know, it just doesn't work as well, you know, and they're just trying to milk it at this point. But don't you ever touch my balls without asking is an actual line that gets uttered in this scene from G.W. Bailey. And we cut to Officer Zed, played by Bobcat Goldthwait, speaking to the ladies. I don't remember where he's at.
He's at some sort of poetry talk.
But he's like, this is when he gets...
Again, this is the start of like, you don't quite know what's happening, because it's a lot of scenes of them going just to random places to essentially to ask people, hey, you want to be a part of the Citizens on Patrol program?
I love how you said this is the part where you stop knowing what's going on. It's like 7 minutes in.
Oh, I know. And 4 of those minutes was the musical introduction of credits.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't quite really establish what he's doing there, why he's there, until like after what seems like an hour of him going, "Oh, it was a beautiful poem. I really loved it."
And something about a fart, and he's like, "I didn't write it." And then
I didn't write it. It just happened to me.
It's funny now. Like if we're thinking back, I'm like, was that hilarious? Actually, was I wrong in the moment?
Oh God. But yeah. So because there's that joke where he shows up wearing, he's wearing like a leather vest that says "Death by Tire Iron."
Yeah, he's got his like.
The poetry lady's like thinks he's just some vagrant. He's like, I'm the police.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I don't remember his origin. Is he like a biker or something?
You know, I think Zed started off as a bad guy. Like he was in a gang or something. I could have this wrong. But he wasn't in the police force. But like by the end of the movie, he like joined them.
Yeah, the academy. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. But he like started off as I think he might have been in the second movie.
And then we go to Tackleberry's family next. We get that insane cop family fight. It's the tone of that scene. It's so bonkers. It made me uncomfortable. That's all I can say about it. Not even just that. It's just like the whole, like the way that the dad's performance, like he's such, and the mom is like this, a fucking like robot lady that's just making pies, and he slaps her ass, and she's like, oh, and it's just so weird. Like her she's blinking feelings. Morse code, like, please let me out. You know what I mean?
Help.
It's wild.
He always is trying to say how fast he is to me. He hits me a lot, is what I'm saying.
He's definitely very fast. And then we get the elevator scene with Bobcat Goldthwait where he like scares the fuck out of those people trying to give him the cop flyers. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, and then they're like, "Oh, okay." Like, they're very scared. And my next note is that fucking David Spade on a skateboard? And it was. And we get that sweet skateboarding sequence. Shoot for the top, which it's so weird. It's so out of place. This like skateboarding montage.
Yeah.
Now you got to think though. In the 80s, skateboarding was fucking dope. Nobody knew quite what it was. It was still underground. You know.
Yeah, skateboarding was dope, and also this was the height of like cops being like, "Oh, you are a skateboarder." Book 'em, Johnny.
Yeah, and that's it does characterize Captain Harris, that he's so bent out of shape about this. They mock him. Skateboarders in the mall, send out a chopper. Like this is his big hill to die on.
I want snipers on the roof.
Yeah.
But then that Copeland guy, like I thought he was going to be he really just like introduces David Spade and the other guy who plays Kyle or Arnie, whichever one's not David Spade. And they set up this like almost antagonistic relationship, like, oh, maybe by the end of the movie, Arnie and Kyle will prove how good they are to this specific cop, Copeland, that was trying to give him shit, or they would at least get some sort of comeuppance on that guy.
No,
that dude just disappears into the ether. There was going to be
any arcs or
And I think that character Copeland's in previous movies. I think he's in other ones.
And the guy, who's the one that kisses Harris's ass the whole time?
Proctor,
like shoots that dude's ass with ketchup and
yeah.
Then gets like a milkshake dumped on his pants, and
he gives a salute to the national anthem in the
naked.
Toilet. Yeah. But I wrote so yeah, they're doing the skateboard, whatever. Did you stay and watch the credits of this movie, like the end credits when?
No, I was out as soon as I could.
It does that classic thing that all 80s movies do, where it's like a clip of Steve Guttenberg doing a thing, freeze frame.
I saw like some of those. Yeah.
The very last one is the most interesting one. It's literally the very last credit they show.
I saw the ketchup ass frame of the guy who plays. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, it's not. Okay. It's not. So the very last frame is all of the skateboarders. And what they're doing is they're skating directly to camera, and then they kind of veer off. So they'll go to camera, this guy's name, he'll veer off. And then there's another guy behind him, this guy's name, veer off. The very last dude, the very last skateboarder is fucking Tony Hawk.
Of course it is. Who else would they get?
And
were there any other pro skateboarders at this time?
Tony Hawk was supposed to be David Spade's stunt double for the skateboarding scenes. And for whatever reason, like there was an interview where Tony Hawk says this is the only job he's ever been fired from, because he got like fired basically as David Spade's skateboarding double. And I don't really know the story much further than that.
He tried to sleep with Sharon Stone.
Probably. Who knows? I mean, she just got
Tony
divorced.
Hawk. She's like, what? He's like, it'll be big when PlayStation 1 comes out.
I could do it at 900.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Most people can only do 720.
I do 9.
I can give you all 900 degrees, Sharon.
But he's the last skateboarder, and I could be wrong, because I don't think they like froze on him or like made a big deal of it, but he was like the last person they credit in that ending video sequence. And it's just kind of like, did they realize at the time that this is Tony fucking Hawk? And it's kind of wild that he's like the final person they show.
I don't think that was a thing yet. Tony fucking Hawk.
Ooh, Tony fucking Hawk.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like those blooper reels at the end of movies that we used to get to, especially comedies.
I feel like this should have had a blooper reel.
Definitely should have. There was a blooper reel. The guy that misses the balloon and just falls to his death.
Yeah, he fell.
That's all we got.
This episode was brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, you know what's good for you, but your brain gets in the way and you just can't quite pull it off. Like when you're trying to fall asleep at night, you got to get up at 7 a.m. You got to work. You want to go to the gym before work, but at 3 a.m., you're just thinking about hippopotamuses, hippopotami. I don't know how to pluralize it. It doesn't matter. You get the idea. So sometimes your brain's getting in its own way. You know what you should do, what's good for you, but you just can't do it. Therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself. You can help find the blocks in your life that are getting in your way, and BetterHelp can get you there. It can match you up with a licensed therapist to help meet your needs. If you don't like your therapist, you can switch free of charge at any time. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy holidays and happy streaming, everybody. This month, we want to give a special shout out to all of our patrons who keep the lights on at Streaming Things, but we especially want to give a special shout out to the super patrons. They are Kaylee Sampson, Stanton Valentino, Anthony Corona, Infamous, Brent Stradamus, Sunshine, Huckleberry Cauliflower, Optimus, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, Emily Scarano, Little Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Haley Anderson, A.K. Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Wendy O'Laughlin, Joey Stewart, Jason Hawkins, Big Butthorn, Conrad, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Linda Eklund, Emmy, Joe Velez, John Collins, Amber McVeigh, Amanda King, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Lauren Waller, Jadinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kalisha Reeves, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ryan Moore, Ashley Powers, Stephen V, Casey McCain, and of course, Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. And with that, let's get back to it.
And then we get Mahoney like speaking at like City Hall while they're chasing the skateboarders. And we get this scene where I guess it's the fence falling, but it sounded like his pants were ripping. But Captain Harris falls on the fence.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to scale a chain link fence. And
yeah,
they could have just used the door the whole time. And this one
that
guy is
comes
like,
and opens the door.
I'm going to make it fall. And then like the fence is like hinged in the middle so it can like twirl as if it was like a fence in a Mario Brothers game.
Yeah.
And Harris just like fucking eats shit on the pavement. And apparently that stunt double didn't use a crash pad or anything. He just fucking did that.
Good for him.
Yeah, I hope they paid him well because he did not need to go that hard for Police Academy 4 Citizens on Patrol.
He did, actually. It was the highest budget film in the franchise.
That's true. I hope he got some of that money.
They wanted their money's worth this time. Yeah, so they got to arrest those wacky kids. In court, Mahoney's like, he knows these people. You said the David Spade characters knew.
That's what I thought.
Mahoney was like, I know these people. I'm going to go protect them in court.
It's Kyle and Arnie. Everyone knows Kyle and Arnie.
Kyle and Arnie with the neon shirts. And the OG Air Jordan 1s. Those are fire, by the way. And and then Michael Winslow does like a fart noise as soon as he says, Judge, to quote you, which apparently wins the victory for the kids joining the COP program instead of going to jail.
So I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Fart made me laugh. It was so absurd and out of place. It caught me off guard.
I didn't laugh, but I liked it.
But then in like the very next scene where it's like, what did they say? They said something like, that's the first time I think I've ever seen a judge throw someone in contempt for not talking or without talking or something.
No, it's like Proctor says, I didn't know you could be thrown in contempt. I thought you could only be thrown in contempt for your mouth or something that.
Yeah.
You know, which meaning butthole.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed.
And then they end up looking for Lois Feldman in the old folks' home. Oh, this is the first time I laughed. I'm even less proud than because it's a misogynistic joke instead of a fart.
Oh,
my first LOL was Tack going in to talk to Mrs. Feldman and then turning around to his female partner. I don't even remember her name. That's how bad this is. And he goes, cover your rear. And she goes, what? And it's all these old men wheeling toward her in wheelchairs, leering at her. Yeah, because they're looking at her ass. Yeah. And that was funny to me because it just cuts to them like,
horny old dudes.
Yeah. And then we get the introductory day of the COP program. Can you tell me why Zed was eating a fucking goldfish?
I have no idea.
What the fuck does that mean?
So the goldfish is something that the commandant's always carrying around.
Yeah, I saw it again when he's like in France.
But yeah, that's kind of like his little thing. I have no idea why Bobcat was trying to eat the fish. I guess it's like, hey, I don't know if people are getting this guy's got a screw loose.
He's weird. Yeah,
I think we should pepper in a couple dozen more scenes to illustrate that.
I did like that the bird kept shitting on that dude.
The shit just goes like everywhere throughout the scene.
Yeah, he like wipes it on the pants leg of the guy next to him, which is fucked up. Yeah. And then it just starts covering him. That's funny. There's 2 bird shit jokes in this movie. This is the first. Captain Harris will be running the academy. So apparently, like the guy below the commandant and above the captain is also a dick who gets satisfaction from appointing Captain Harris to I don't know. Forget. Like again, it would be nice if we watched the first 3.
Yeah, I feel like this is also a dude that we should know more about. Commissioner Hurst, is that his name?
I guess so. Yeah, the commissioner, the commish. He's no Gordon. I'll tell you that.
I don't know. Gordon wouldn't stand for that shit.
We got David Spade chewing some bubble gum, and then we get the dick sniffing dog.
Oh, yeah.
And then the reporter, Sharon Stone, of course, is going to house the dog.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. I'll take care of your
What
dog
the
for
fuck?
you. Don't mind me. Just mild-mannered reporter Sharon Stone.
Random white lady will take your dog.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Oh, thanks.
Sharon Stone, thank you.
This is my pet. What do you mean I can't take it to my place of work?
And then Mahoney walks up.
Is that something we could have done this whole time?
I'm house trained.
I could take Pippin to work, and when someo's like, get that dog
If you're
out of
a
here, I'm
cop
like, it's my pet.
with a German Shepherd, I feel like it's not that crazy.
A-cab.
He's a K9. He's a K9. Yeah. People's hatred for cops does not apply to doggies.
So somebody once asked G.W. Bailey, like, hey, did you do your own stunts on the Police Academy movies? And was there a stunt that ever went awry? And the only thing he can come up with in that question, that Q&A that he was in was like, there was a scene in, I think, the fourth one where this dog was like supposed to bite my nuts. And it was trained to just like stick its nose in there and I would react to it. But at one time it got really close and it was scary.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
I would be wearing a cup.
Yeah, for sure. You got to trust those dog handlers if you're like, yeah, let's simulate it ripping my nuts off.
Yeah, not a fan. And then there's a scene where there's like a training montage-ish kind of thing. And none of this stuff makes any sense. Why is the guy, what's with the bicycling in the pool? What the fuck
was that?
I don't know.
I literally wrote some sort of training, dude bikes in the pool. He's still biking. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that's your notes. Yeah. I don't get it. Like that was clearly his intention. And it's like, I just don't get it. And then they try to save him. And then there's a joke because she's got a white shirt and huge breasts and she's a drowning victim. And then they all jump in to save her. Mm-hmm. And then the Zed's flirting with the lady, the photographer lady. That's when that romance, if you want to call it that, begins to blossom.
Yeah. There was another thing in this section. I think it's a little earlier that made me laugh just because, again, it's the most random fucking thing. It should not make me laugh. It shouldn't make me laugh, but because it's so random, it caught me off guard. But it's when Harris is like, it's when David Spade has the bubble gum. And he's chewing it and he's like, is that bubble gum? And he like blows a big bubble and Proctor's like, it is gum. It's definitely gum, sir. And I think it's cherry. Just like,
that's funny.
How enthusiastic he was.
Yeah, he was great in that scene, the way that it cut to his close up.
He was just so like, oh my God, you're right.
Also, another thing that made me laugh out of nowhere was Bobcat Goldthwait talking to the girl later on. And he said, no one understands me. And she's like, well, maybe if you talked quieter and with a lower pitch. And that's not what he meant, obviously, right? And he's like, oh, now I'm going to worry about my diction. You know, it's just like a tiny thing that was super funny to me.
I also laughed at the scene when he's talking to this love interest and he just goes, Mickey, he's dead. Like he's looking at his Mickey Mouse watch. I don't know why it was he killed him.
Because of the water, I guess?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh, no, I said jerk.
And then after the tits joke, there's they swap the commandant's, or not the commandant, but the captain's deodorant for Mace. And he comes in all crippled. And all he does from that.
The smoke effect coming out of his tits. So it's kind of.
Yeah. And then he's like
that
literally in a brace from the stinging of his armpits. That's silly. And that's what I mean about how this movie doesn't work, though, is like, that's fine. That's not too silly, but there's no consequences from that. He just comes in and he's like, the next time somebody misplaces their mace, it'll be a fine. You know, like he should be furious. There should be a crackdown. There should be consequences that alters the course of the plot a little bit, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just a series of random things happen and then the movie's over.
Like someone just biking into a pool and then just keeping
nothing matters
still going
or affects anything else.
Yeah.
You know, you could have this movie in a cop themed SNL episode and nothing would change. There would not have to be any unifying plot.
Yeah. Except people would say how SNL is not funny anymore.
Which they say anyway. But
yeah.
I saw a comment on a TikTok of a clip of SNL and it was a Gen Z person saying, is SNL funny now or am I just getting old? And I laughed because that's kind of a thing, you know. It's been the same for 50 years. It's just like, it's pretty funny as you get older.
Yeah. When you're young, you like the ones you grow up with. And then you go through a phase of like 15 to 20 years. You're like, SNL used to be funny when I was younger. And then you start watching it and you're like, it's pretty funny now.
I remember my teens early teen, maybe 14 or so, where I started to realize everyone I had grown up loving on movies was a previous SNL cast member. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because I'd watch old reruns and be like, see Phil Hartman and fucking Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Farley and just be like, what is going on right now? And then the new generation was like Tim Meadows and all the people I was currently watching and Will Ferrell. And I'm like, oh my God. What is happening? They're all from SNL.
SNL is still great.
Yeah, they have some really good stuff.
I mean, if you're going to make skits every week, not all of them can be winners.
Exactly. That's what people don't get.
But I think generally speaking, it's usually they hit more than miss.
Yeah, I agree. And then we cut to there's a scene where he's teaching him how to eat a donut. I like that joke.
Oh yeah.
And then when Mrs. Feldman beats the shit out of the guy that's pretending to be a purse snatcher.
Sweet Church.
Yeah.
Or is that his name? Sweet Church or
No,
Sweet Chuck?
Sweet Chuck.
Sweet Chuck, yeah.
And then we get basically a montage.
What else is that guy in? He looks so familiar, but I can't place.
This whole next 10
Why?
minutes is just a montage of him getting shit on. And at first it's literal with the bird shit, but it's like bad things keep happening to him as the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, the poor guy.
Like he's just climbing a rope, not minding his own business, and his shoe falls off and hits Zed, who gets so pissed that he like throws him into a goalpost.
I couldn't
a basketball hoop.
Because I haven't seen these movies in forever. I couldn't remember that guy's name, and so for half of this movie in my notes, he's referred to as Ted Wheeler.
Oh, that's a good reference.
Ted Wheeler loses a shoe
When he left the force and just married Karen and was did nothing for her. And then we get the helium scene that you talked about earlier. That's pretty pointless. And then Mahoney randomly sends Proctor and Harris to a gay bar. Like it's just, it cuts and they're like, Mahoney told me to go to the salad bar. And Harris is like, Mahoney, to be fine. And then they get danced without consent, I guess is the joke here.
Yeah, by the guy from Reno 911.
Really?
No, it looks like him though.
Oh, I was like,
it looks like Thomas Lennon from
Reno
actual
911. Thomas Lennon. Yeah. This is the mustache.
But yeah, this was so.
I should have brought my sailor outfit.
This is another ongoing joke because again, the Blue Oyster is a restaurant that they've been to in previous movies, or not a restaurant, a club, a nightclub.
Oh, really?
Like that's like an ongoing. Like so, if you had seen 1 through 3, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to the salad bar," and it pans up to the Blue Oyster. If you're in on the movies, you'd be like, "Oh, that Mahoney trick."
Right, you're right because look, first one came out in 84, then 85. Then 86. Now we're in 87. So people have just watched these movies, except we haven't in 30 years.
Yeah.
So maybe a lot of the quote unquote random shit is just like really deep inside jokes. It'd be like listening to our podcast and hearing any Hoozle and maybe Sniper Tone come out of nowhere. That seems like it doesn't make any sense.
Sniper Tone transcends mediums. Everybody understands.
Oh,
Sniper Tone.
no, dude. I'm going to stop ripping on this movie.
Uh-oh.
We are the Police Academy 4 of podcasts.
It's true, we are.
Like, it makes no damn sense.
I mean, yeah.
Compels me, though. That's how I hope people
Teaching
feel about
a donut class.
That's how people respond to our show. Makes no damn sense. Compels them, though. So after the gay bar, there's a game of basketball and then the big porta potty bit. It's just randomly playing a pickup game with Mahoney, who's terrible at basketball. When Steve Guttenberg runs down the court, dribbling his heart out. He clearly can't even dribble. As someone who can't dribble, I recognize it in others. Mm-hmm. And then he does like an under the leg layup maneuver that he clearly couldn't do.
He practiced all day on that one move. Still didn't do it well.
Like the way he's dribbling, he's like looking at his hand like, don't fuck up, don't fuck up.
Don't fuck up. I just learned about this game today.
So go back to, I think we should be golfing personally. Yeah. And then the whole bit about Proctor being a dick, he's going to snitch on them to Harris. And so when he goes to, immediately has to take a shit.
Hightower dunk and the ball gets like lodged into the cement as if he was the Hulk and it just made a crater.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And then Bobcat's like to the ball.
Oh, traveling.
And they drop the porta potty on like the 50-yard line of a very popular football game.
Do you actually see that they're playing a football game? Or I don't think they actually cut to what the game is. You just see.
I assume it's football because it was like they let him on grass, and
which was it was weird because I don't think they actually showed where he is. You just see the background that he's in a stadium.
Yeah.
It's
all you need
grass.
to know is that thousands of people are seeing his butthole.
Yeah. But I do love how he's such a patriot.
Oh, he had to.
That even though he's in this precarious position and he's undoubtedly confused, the national anthem plays and Proctor understands these colors don't run.
Plus, what are you going to do? You can't pull up your pants, no wipe.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that either.
You want to be, you don't want to be like, so you don't want to have people saying like, hey, not only did you show up with no pants at this game,
They're doo-doo pants.
you also didn't stand for the national anthem?
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
By the way, how bad do you have to be shitting to shit in a porta potty?
I don't even think he had to shit that bad. I just think he saw
He's such a cretin that he was like chilling in the porta potty.
Yeah, I think he just saw an excuse to take a half-hour break and read it and catch up on his Archie comics.
Yeah. Because you don't go in. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a porta potty. Those are not pleasant places to be.
Especially one off of a construction work site.
They've been blowing that sucker
Dude.
up. I'm not one that can poop just wherever. I'm thankful that my body does not allow that. I won't even have to. My body doesn't ring the poop alarm unless I'm comfortably at home. Or if I have a hotel room, if I'm alone in my hotel room. I'm not like, I have friends that can just, we'll be walking around Walmart and I'm like, got a shit, hold on. And they'll leave. And I'm like, ugh, you savage. Just dropping trow in Walmart of all places.
I can do that.
You're a public pooper? You're like,
so I'm choosing.
I'm feeling it.
There has to be a threshold of class that the establishment surpasses.
Not a Walmart.
Not a Walmart.
But
no.
a Target?
A Target, yeah. I've seen the bathroom checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Target.
Now, Barnes and Noble's different. Bookstores, that's a scientific fact, make you want to poop. Mm-hmm. I have pooped in a Barnes and Noble.
It's the smell of the bookstore.
Yeah.
Of the bookstore, not what
Shit.
you're doing in the bathroom.
That's right.
Then you take a shit and like, wow, my shit smells like books.
Yeah. For me, that just made me, it told me everything I need to know about this character, Proctor, that he would just pull over and try to shit in this porta potty, unless it was an absolute medical emergency.
He had an Archie comic.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
He shits all the time. We didn't have phones back then,
He's a professional.
What are you going to do? Just stare at the porta potty door? No.
No, I mean, he was out for a break.
You got to watch something, read something, right?
Do you watch YouTube videos while you're on the toilet?
The second time I laughed raucously was the dumbest joke in the movie, perhaps. It's when the crane is moving the porta potty and Bobcat Goldthwait, because it's a perspective joke. Watch out for that plane!
Yeah, I laughed at that really hard. I don't laugh at the plane. This is far away.
I'm fucking lost it. And I was grasping for straws at this point, maybe, but
I fly a drone for work pretty often, and that is a
make
thing
jokes
where
like that?
yeah. I do. Well, sometimes they're not jokes. Sometimes like a helicopter will fly by, and you're like, ooh, that's really close to my drone, but really it's fucking not. It's just perspective is off.
Yeah. Almost hit that cloud.
Oh, it's off of the plane.
And then, it cuts to the kids, David Spade and them, saying they're ready for duty. And so they do the two known felons prank with just Hightower. And
that old plan, the two known felons.
Classic prank with the chainsaw man and the mask. And
Pretty
all
sure
that.
he's not armed. I love that look. We got him, men. It's Bedula and his late brother.
Yeah.
And it's clearly Hightower just in a beard.
I would think so.
Yeah,
if I knew that guy. I'd
that
be like,
dude's
"That's
tall
Hightower."
as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
how many guys like that do you know?
he's not going to disappear anywhere.
Yummy, 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 yumma.
And and they're scared to death. And then the chainsaw thing happens. Now, to be fair, the chainsaw thing would scare me.
I'm so old that I was thinking throughout that is way too dangerous to be a prank. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a dangerous prank. What if they freaked out and fell on the chainsaw, or the guy in the bag could hurt himself with the chainsaw?
Yeah, Tackleberry?
Not worth it, man. Not worth it, kids.
No, just to scare some kids and think, ha ha ha, you thought you were ready? You were wrong, David Spade.
Like, you could have done a harmless prank about, because they don't have guns and you do, you could like get a squib and stage a shootout and,
That's what I thought they were going to do, because they he's not armed. And then they made Michael Winslow did the gunshot noises.
Yeah.
So I thought that's where they were going for. And they really just took a hard left turn like, ha, Cuckoosville.
Yeah. We're just going to lock you in this van. Yeah. Wild. But that's what happens next. And then we get the COP party. And Mahoney uses the biggest tub of super glue I've ever seen, because usually theirs are quite small because that's powerful glue. And that's when he glues the, what's that called?
Megaphone
to Harris's mouth. And he has to get it taken off in the hospital with a blowtorch, because that's what hospitals do. And then we get the scene with Bobcat and the photographer lady. I will never know her name. And this is when I realized I had a crush on this lady. I remember this scene.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Those bangs.
that when they're running in slow motion at each other.
I thought she was really pretty when I was a kid.
I mean, she's gorgeous.
I mean, she is as an adult too. I'm just saying, like, as a kid, it was like, it's a weird, like, top 5 crushes. The lady from Police Academy 4. You know what I mean? But when you're 10, it's whatever. And then we get the sting operation that Mrs. Feldman inadvertently ruins. The program gets suspended. They try to act like there's some conflict in this movie, but even in this moment, like, nobody really seems to care. You don't know who's invested. They go to tell the commandant, and he's like, goldfish. And then the prisoners in the jail trick Proctor with Simon Says and bust out. And then we get the whole, they allude to the ninjas earlier, and it seems like a one-off. Like, plus we got ninjas, sir. And it's just kind of a thing dropped. And then you see the fucking ninjas excitedly jump out of the jail. That's kind of funny.
And you're like, oh, they were serious.
Yeah. The people that broke out start robbing places immediately. They don't even like go home and relax.
Like, I've got to fucking do crime.
Gotta do crime.
I'm not even going to ditch this police car we stole.
In the cruiser, they're robbing places. And that's when Feldman saves the day, because, like, what's his name? Tackleberry? Tack goes in there and gets...
Oh, he's a terrible cop.
Yeah.
He's got his giant gun, and he, like, opens the door, and he would have had to have seen the gunman right there, but he looks past them, keeps turning to his left, frees obvious people at the bank, and then they're right there just like, you fucking idiot.
That's what I was going to say.
But luckily, Mrs. Feldman just crashes that.
Yeah, drives the motorcycle through the window.
She's got a hard-on for justice, and I appreciate that about her. Her whole room in the old folks' home is camo colored. Like, she's painted her whole domicile.
Let me fire a few rounds off with that sucker. All right, Mrs. Feldman.
It has quite a kick, though.
And that's the Dirty Harry joke, I would guess.
And this next scene is actually another one that made me audibly laugh. It was when
they find the ninjas?
No, when Bobcat and his lady friend are like, he's like playing a guitar and he's got his dumb little harmonica thing. Yeah. And she says, and she says something like, hey, now that the COP is not a real thing, are we going to still see each other? Like, I would really like that. And he goes, shut up, ducks. Not you. I was talking to the ducks. Yeah. They're just ducks quacking.
He screams at him.
Just shut up, ducks.
No, he just goes, shut up. Not you, ducks.
Dying.
Because the way she jumps.
I can't tell if that was like an improv thing or if that was literally in the script that he tells her to shut up. Either way, wasn't expecting
I hope it was improv.
I laughed my ass off.
My notes are killing me now, and I'm so sorry, guys.
So full disclosure, at this part in the movie, I watched it really late last night.
Yeah.
We had done like a cocktail class, and Andy randomly was at the bar that's right by my place. He's like, hey, come hang out. So we went and saw Andy and Sarah. And so when I came back home and started this movie, it was like midnight when I started it.
Yeah, I watched this movie at midnight as well.
I fell asleep at this part.
Oh, no.
But I woke up before the air fight.
No.
So this morning I had to go back and watch like 15 minutes of this movie.
That's so funny, because look at my notes. They find the ninjas. I zoned out, disassociated. Now there's a plane and hot air balloons. And we both got tuned out at the exact same moment. So I have no idea what happens other than there's like a montage of all this nonsense and silliness.
Yeah, like
and they end up with
what's her name?
Criminals get away in hot air balloons and airplanes.
Callahan, Michael Winslow, and the dude that is it Nagata? Is that his name? The guy who kind of is part of the international group, but he, for some reason, I guess he has some sort of previous relationship with Callahan, because they're like wrestling at one point. He's like, I missed you, baby girl. And she's like, oh, I miss pinning you. Ha ha.
Oh, yeah, there's that scene. Yeah.
The three of them
get her.
The three of them end up like, they're just driving around, and there just happens to be a pirate ship. And as they are passing the pirate ship, like, oh, look, there are the ninjas.
Yeah.
So they fight them on a pirate ship.
They don't use their guns, though.
No,
they use karate.
And there's a lot of dick hitting humor. Yeah,
it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. But yeah, Mrs. Feldman's a hero. They beat up the ninjas.
But did you know Sharon Stone's a pilot?
I did not.
I didn't either, but apparently she is, and that's a huge plot point in this. Because he's like,
never
Mahoney's
brought
like,
up.
oh, they got away, and she's like, no, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
I'm a pilot.
What? The only thing I knew about you is that
like,
you kidnap dogs. That's the only thing I know about this character.
Dogs in the plane. And then they do all these unnecessary death-defying stunts, which I get it. It's this goofy movie. It's whatever, right? But the whole idea of Tack jumping into their balloon and pulling a gun on them, you don't have them now.
License and registration, please.
You do not have them booked. You are still, they could push you, right?
They literally can just be like, I'm just going to keep.
Especially Mahoney on their plane. He pulls out his little gun, like, land this. Like, okay. Barrel roll. Yeah, you're gone.
Sorry.
That's not, just wait till they land,
Yeah.
you know, like track them and then arrest them when they land. That's, you know, so all that aside, willing suspension of disbelief.
Also,
sure.
I was confused at one point because so Tackleberry, Sweet Chuck, and Zed show up and they get into their own biplane that they like blast through a wall. But Sweet Chuck has the parachutes. And he's like, hold on, I'm trying to bring the parachutes. And they're like, leave him. And Zed's like, don't tell him if he doesn't want to do it, he can do it.
Yeah. But he has his own parachute. Yeah.
But like that little aside makes you think, oh, they don't have the parachutes. But then they have the parachutes.
They only have one. Sweet Chuck does not have one.
Well, doesn't Tackleberry have one? Or does he just straight up jump?
I think you're supposed to believe that he just is
fucking
crazy
goes for
enough
it?
to have jumped for the balloon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But you can tell that the stunt guy has one, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sweet Chuck does not, because that's a whole thing where he's like, I don't have a parachute. And he's like, well, relax, man. I'm gonna, okay, I pulled it. You feel better now? Or whatever. Like it's the whole ADR thing that they do. And then they also rescue Captain Harris, who's in a river because Proctor's a fucking idiot and does a warning shot into their hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm. But who saves them? It's the
kids.
It's the kids.
Yeah, the skateboarders and whatnot.
And Tommy.
Yeah. So that's kind of an arc.
I think Tommy does most of the work in that situation.
Yes. That's a completion of that arc there. And that's my last note. I'm not going to lie to you. Things kind of wrap up.
There is one bit of ADR. Was it the Sweet Chuck and Zed falling down where they're falling? And then I think Zed goes like, aim for the kids and break your fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he doesn't have a parachute. Yeah. That's what he tells them.
But yeah, everyone loves the citizens on patrol.
What a successful
let's give Mahoney a successful bow because he was so instrumental in this movie. Was he? He kind of wasn't there the whole time.
But no, he's drinking champagne in a hot air balloon with Sharon Stone. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
At all.
And then my notes go, the end, period. Tony Hawk.
You love the Tony Hawk viewpoint.
It just came out of nowhere, man. So yeah, this is this of all the movies we've watched.
Christmas merch.
We do.
I wasn't wearing it in the other episode.
Now, and you look good. You got the black one.
Yeah.
Madison had the green one. I have the red one. There are so many different colors. Go on to
there's 3.
Yeah, well, you could also get it in shirt form. It doesn't have to be sweater or sweatshirt form that we have. But yeah, you can go to streamingthingspod.com. You'll find a link to our merch store there, and you can get all sorts of merch, like our Happy Holidays and Happy Streaming shirt, like our Lost t-shirt. Get yourselves one of those.
Get you some.
It makes a great gift for anybody.
Thank you to our merch team.
To Streaming Things. Thank you to West River Printing.
Thank you again to Brett X for being a patron and for buying us a wonderful lunch and allowing us the joy of watching Police Academy 4. And look forward next week to our coverage of Lost, but also Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And at some point, make sure to, if you're a patron, vote on the holiday poll. The choice is between Gremlins, Klaus, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Scrooged for our
winners.
And Gremlins is got a stout lead right now. So
Gremlins too, but
I knew you guys weren't cultured enough to choose Eyes Wide Shut. So I left it off the poll this year. That is a Christmas movie. I would love to watch it.
Yeah, when looking up Christmas movies, Eyes Wide Shut kept popping up. I'm like, I guess
there's Christmas happening.
There's Christmas in there.
There's also orgies.
Yeah. And it's the orgies are the gift that keeps on giving.
It's the time of giving. Christmas.
How else do you like properly share with someone how much they mean to you and how thankful you are for them around the holidays by if you don't invite them to an orgy?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a question
you got your invitation to my yearly orgy, right?
I did. I'm busy that day.
Bring 2 buckets.
Oh, God. Will do. The Streaming Things orgy. My favorite annual pastime.
2K23.
That's all the time we've got for right now. We've got to go return some videotapes. My name is Kit.
And I'm your boy, Steve.
And this was Streaming Things. Happy streaming.
Shut up, ducks.